Whereas Cicada and Emiko Queen were hit or miss for much of the seasons of The Flash and Arrow this year respectively, I thought that the villains and the main threats in Supergirl's 4th season were absolutely amazing. So let's talk about why season 4 was one of the best seasons in the Arrowverse. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Ramakrishnan and welcome to the channel. Here I love to do discussions, reviews, countdowns, lists and stuff of that nature, talking about gaming, movies, and TV shows. And today's video, as you saw in the title and thumbnail, we are talking about Supergirl Season 4. Like I said, as you saw in the thumbnail, we're going to be going into full spoilers. So guys, if you are not caught up with the latest season of Supergirl, first of all, I recommend totally going to check it out and just watching the whole thing because, as you'll come to see, I found it to be really, really good. Yeah, make sure you guys are caught up and then watch this video because I'm going to go into major plot points and details, talk about all the major things that have happened. Here we go, guys. Let's start talking about Season 4 of Supergirl.
We don't need their heroes. When humans root out the invaders, we can be safe again.
So first things first, I think that the villains were the best part of this season, and I believe that they were written really well and the performances were great of these villains, and there was a lot of awesome stuff in there from the beginning of the season up until the other day's finale of Season 4. But before I start talking about the main villains, because I think that is where the season shined the most, I'll just cover some of the other smaller stuff or just things that didn't mean as much as the villains to me, but things that are still important in this discussion.
Brandy, how many of those have you had to drink?
The ginger juice? 12. You see, James, the ginger root kicks the booty of the immune system. It also strangely makes the roof spin.
Alright, so the first ground I want to cover is talking about Brainy. I really like this character. I always have. I always thought he was kind of fun and interesting, and I enjoyed it particularly in the season finale when he got rebooted and became real serious and just by the books and stuff. And it was like kind of crazy seeing that he could be so different, like these ancestors he mentioned.
In short, you rebooted me, aligned me with my more emotionless ancestors. And that was a calamitous mistake.
It's really interesting seeing him in the season being such a genius. That is really fun, and he is kind of funny and stuff and a little charming, and I like the way he is so smart and all, but he can't really handle these human emotions at first, like love. And I think that they did a good job with his relationship with Nia, or Dreamer, and I think it worked out well because they didn't focus too much on that love, but when they did, they made it kind of fun, and it worked out for them in the end, and I was happy with those characters. And Dreamer too, yeah, I think that Nia Nal was a character who probably could have been thrown away at first, but then they ended up doing something interesting with her. I liked that they had an episode focusing on her past and her family and stuff, and that was a really good episode too, actually.
My element was water. Yours is fire. And your fire will make you far more powerful than I ever was. It was your destiny to be my daughter. To be Dreamer.
I found Dreamer to be a pretty nice addition to the team. I didn't mind her. She never really annoyed me too much. She was kind of cool, and you know, there was some nice, like, real humanity to her, and you know, she was standing for rights of not only of aliens but also being a transgender and whatnot. I think that there's a lot to be said with what her character stands for, and I liked her. I liked Brainy. I think they worked out well together.
Anticipatory dreams. I have differential calculus.
One of my favorite things about the season was the idea of them having to erase everyone's memory of who is Supergirl, who her identity is, because Dio could not find out, you know?
You have undermined everything that we stand for, all to protect your own sister. Supergirl.
I was actually pretty happy with what they did with Alex there, because it really left a lot of like weight on Kara's shoulder, knowing that she can't speak of her true identity, you know, as Supergirl to Alex, and she has to live two lives with Alex at that point, and it stresses her out a lot. And you know, by the end it starts to hit Alex a little bit, and she has these like flashbacks and stuff, and I thought that was pretty interesting. And then she finally remembers, and she's like, I remember it all.
You can't go now. I remember everything. And Kara, we're here together. And I know you. I know you better than anybody knows you, and I know that you don't quit.
I feel like they almost brushed off the fact that she remembers it all really quick, but it was the end of the season, so, you know, whatever. But I thought that was good. Alex, I feel like she learned a lot about herself this season, because, you know, she lost love and stuff, and she wanted to have a kid, and she almost got the chance to be a mom, and that didn't work out. And in the end, she ends up looking like she's gonna be with James Olsen's sister, so that was interesting. I don't know if she is a character I care that much about. Hopefully they do something with her, though, that is not just a love interest. So I guess we'll see next season.
I haven't felt like this in a long time, and I just felt like I had to.
Ditto.
Now, of course, the main thing this season is the Luthers and alien rights. And, of course, we had the Agents of Liberty and whatnot, and Ben Lockwood, and there was Otis and Mercy Graves, and Eve Tessmacher, and then, like I said, the Luthers, and Lex Luthor being the actual main villain overall, and that was really great. So, I mean, I probably will end up ranting a lot in this video about the villains, but I thought that they were just excellent. Really just some of the best that the CW's Arrowverse has shown in a while, in my opinion.
This is the era of the elite. Now, I flatter myself. My guess is the girl of yesterday is watching somewhere, hands on her hips in the name of justice. Well, she can come meet me face to face. Go on. Come alone.
So, first of all, I just want to say that there was a couple episodes in the season where they focused on the villains, and I thought that those were, like, top-of-the-line episodes. So we got the episode where they showed us Ben Lockwood going from a history professor, I believe he was. He became a terrorist, a huge public figure, a politician, someone who had superpowers at one point. He had a lot happen to him. They pretty much showed us the journey from going from just a man who probably didn't even have an opinion on aliens that much to someone who absolutely hates them with all of his heart and all of his might.
I remember you. It's dangerous.
No, I'm not. I'm a floor manager. No, you're not. You're an alien.
They did such a good job at writing the villains. I really feel like I could make a whole video on them. Probably just a whole video on Lockwood and then another on Luthor, because they're both excellent villains. I was pretty much sold on Sam Witwer's character of Ben Lockwood from the start, right when we started seeing him, and you know, that episode was just excellent. I loved it. I thought that the political stuff wasn't even that bad, and I'm someone who is admittedly not a fan of politics. I absolutely do not like politics. I don't like politically driven conversations. Not my thing. I'm not interested, but I thought it was really compelling in Supergirl, and I was surprised and extremely satisfied with that. I loved the storytelling that they did, where there was just some real world parallels and stuff, and the idea of discrimination and racism and just hate towards aliens, and aliens just trying to live in peace with humans, and how it just kept like getting bigger and bigger to the point where the President of the United States in the show was involved, and he was on the bad side.
I am hereby enacting martial law for our protection. And Supergirl, if you are watching, make no mistake, this act of horrific terrorism will not go unanswered. You are now public enemy number one.
Ben Lockwood, like I say, Witwer's performance was awesome. I really liked this character. I thought that he was just really written well, super dynamic, and kind of like someone who I can almost get behind at first. You know, you felt bad for him. He went through a lot. And then you just started seeing him evolving, and he was just becoming more and more ruthless. And I thought that made him menacing and interesting. And I loved following this character's journey and how his family was torn apart. He was just really cool and such a great villain who is actually interesting and and so much better than what we got from Cicada and whatever happened in the earlier parts of Arrow Season 7.
And we can tear out this alien disease that threatens to poison our world. We can invite them to return to the planets that they came from. And we can restore health and vitality and security to this country. And I, as your agent of liberty, will stand with you as we dare to put Earth first!
And I was happy to see them do such a good job with him. Lockwood is definitely, or at least was, my favorite villain this current year of seasons in the Arrowverse. But, of course, that was taken away by one John Cryer.
But she wasn't your mother.
She was yours. I want you to know with certainty that while I came from poison, you came from love. And if the rest of this family stands steadily in darkness, you will always fall into the light.
This character, Lex Luthor, you've got to do a good job with him because it is a fan favorite classic character in the Superman, Supergirl, just DC comics. And they did an excellent job. Cryer did an excellent job. Really just like oddly likable and charming and just straight up evil and just super intelligent and always forward thinking. And he was like 10 steps ahead of everybody else around him. He literally said it in like the finale is like, everything I've done is strategic. Really just one of the best characters I've seen on any of the Arrowverse shows, honestly.
Rook to E8, queen to H5, bishop to G6, queen to H8. Checkmate.
Yeah, instantly Lex Luthor was my favorite, and he actually topped Ben Lockwood in terms of just my favorite villain right now. And I'm just so happy about how these performances and how these characters were written. I just loved Lockwood and Luthor so much as villains, and I thought that the storytelling was just really great. They did such a good job at making it where like Lockwood was just someone who was damaged and stuff, and he was just starting to become more and more mad at the aliens, and then everywhere around him the world was starting to hate aliens, and they were starting to fear them really, and it was this whole phobia and stuff and discrimination, and they did a really good job at covering these things. In my personal opinion, it wasn't overly political, even though some people said it was. I thought it was kind of like appropriately political and almost like realistic in a sense. I enjoyed that a lot. I thought it was compelling, and they need storytelling like that. It's so much better than some of the cheesier stuff that we get in some of the other shows, and of course even in earlier Supergirl. And then the fact that by the end Lockwood was actually after Lex Luthor and he wanted to take him down because he was so mad because basically he was being used, because that's the thing, Lex was pretty much using every single person around him.
Lena, I'm disappointed that this is your reaction, but I'm not surprised, which is why I had someone give me the cure 10 minutes ago.
What? You're dead.
No, you're dead.
Of course, Red Daughter, she realized that, Kara's clone, and she ended up wanting to save the actual Supergirl in the end, and she pretty much realized that she was following the wrong direction, but she was like pretty much brainwashed to believe that America was so bad to Kosnia because Lex was telling her that, and then Lex had this insanely elaborate plan where he pretty much had Kosnia attack, but then he deflected everything and he destroyed that country, but then he faked the death of the Red Daughter so he can look like he killed Supergirl. I feel like I'm just rambling a little bit talking about all these things that happened in the last, few episodes leading up to the finale and stuff, but that arc was just really interesting for everything.
What happened?
The Kosnians invaded.
Your signal was late. I was supposed to lead the attack.
No, Krasnaya Dodge. You did exactly what you were meant to.
You betrayed me. Betrayed Kosnia.
What can I say? I'm proud to be an American.
how Supergirl had to kind of lie low and how Kara decided that the pen could be mightier than the sword, and she used her journalistic prowess to sort of get forward, and that also was pretty interesting. Lex was just so maniacal, and it was so well done and just like well written, and I really enjoyed this story so much. I absolutely loved it. It ended great. Of course, Lex is dead, and he's probably gonna come back in the Crisis as we see the Monitor in the ending. I'm just super excited for that Crisis too. That is gonna be awesome next season in all these shows. I feel like it's gonna be like the Infinity War Endgame type of thing to the Arrowverse, as those movies were for the MCU, and I'm stoked. But anyway, yeah, so Lex Luthor was just a great villain. The story was great, and I love that he was actually using Ben Lockwood, and Lockwood just felt like, you know, everything that he wanted was for him and stuff, and he just hated aliens, and he tore his family apart. His wife ended up dying. His son hates him pretty much and is going in the opposite direction, where he's fighting for the rights of aliens, which is extremely sweet. I like that at the ending as well.
You're responsible for her death. You killed her with this stupid fight of yours, and I will never forgive you. I hate you.
Lex is dead. Let's talk about that real quick, because Lena is a character who I really came to love the season as well. Seeing her trying to like feel for her brother. She wanted to feel bad for Lex, but she ultimately knew that he was just so evil. And you know, her mother coming into the mix and the little family dynamic there and the drama between them, and how Luthors are just this twisted family. But Lena's trying to make things right for the name. And you know, she got so caught up in her research and stuff, ruined her relationship with James at one point.
I think you should leave.
So that's it then.
It was always inevitable, wasn't it?
Her killing Lex in the ending, only after hearing all about how Kara has been lying about being Supergirl, something that Kara has been fighting with herself and talking to others around her about for quite a while. She just wants to tell her, and now, oh, there's going to be so much tension next season. I hope Lena doesn't become like a villain though, but I think it should be really interesting and heartfelt to see how that relationship goes between them as friends, because there has been a lack of trust. Clearly, that was good.
Kara Danvers is Supergirl. I'm about to die, but at least I lived without ever being a fool. You're left with no one.
Lena's a good character. I like her a lot. I love the Luthors in this season. It was just so much fun, so well written. Lex was just crazy, and they had so many great scenes where they just wrote it perfectly. They used music perfectly. They just showed us how good of a villain Lex Luthor is and how good of an actor I guess John Cryer is.
Indeed.
I ultimately found this season to be amazing. I mean, there were probably some things that weren't great. There was probably a few episodes that were misses, but overall, I was compelled and just interested and on the edge of my seat. I loved nearly every episode I watched, and it got better and better and better. Supergirl season 1 through 3. It's funny, I barely even remember half the stuff that happened in there. This was just like a huge leap forward. I was shocked that I liked it more than Flash, Arrow, Legends, and even Black Lightning. I just was like really impressed with it, and I'm happy that Supergirl season 4 was excellent.
And not the words of one who kneels. Those that show I took the blows and did it
I'm not going to ramble on anymore because I know I talked a whole lot about, basically about the things that were the best, like Lex and Ben, and I want you guys to let me know in the comments below. What did you think? By the way, Manchester Black was also great, really fun character, kind of charming, kind of cool, and I am glad that we got a decent amount out of him. But anyway, let me know in the comments below, guys, what do you think about Supergirl Season 4? Let's have a discussion about Supergirl Season 4, and if you guys enjoyed this video, maybe consider giving me a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. Subscribe, and you guys can check out my other videos, which I will definitely leave in the description below, where I did a discussion similar to this about Arrow Season 7 and The Flash Season 5. I don't know that I'm going to do one about Legends of Tomorrow, though, because, I don't know, I feel like there's just so much more to talk about for the big three. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys all in the next video.